The second teaching, Philosophy and Spiritual Discipline. Sanjaya speaks. Arjuna sat dejected, filled with pity, his sad eyes blurred by tears. Krishna gave him counsel. Lord Krishna, why this cowardice in times of crisis, Arjuna? The coward is ignoble, shameful, foreign to the ways of heaven. Don't yield to impotence. It is unnatural in you. Banish this petty weakness from your heart. Rise to the fight, Arjuna. Arjuna. Krishna, how can I fight against Bhishma and Drona with arrows when they deserve my worship? It is better in this world to beg for scraps of food than to eat meals smeared with the blood of elders I killed at the height of their power, while their goals were still desires. We don't know which weight is worse to bear, our conquering them or their conquering us. We will not want to live if we kill the sons of Darishthara assembled before us. The flaw of pity blights my very being. Conflicting sacred duties confound my reason. I ask you to tell me decisively which is better. I am your pupil. Teach me what I seek. I see nothing that could drive away the grief that withers my senses, even if I won kingdoms of unrivaled wealth on earth and sovereignty over gods. Sanjaya speaks. Arjuna told this to Krishna, then saying, I shall not fight. He fell silent. Mocking him gently, Krishna gave this counsel as Arjuna sat dejected between the two armies. Lord Krishna, you grieve for those beyond grief, and you speak words of insight, but learned men do not grieve for the dead or the living. Never have I not existed, nor you, nor these kings, and never in the future shall we cease to exist. Just as the embodied self enters childhood, youth, and old age, so does it enter another body. This does not confound a steadfast man. Contacts with matter make us feel heat and cold, pleasure and pain. Arjuna, you must learn to endure fleeting things. They come and go. When these cannot torment a man, when suffering and joy are equal for him, and he has courage, he is fit for immortality. Nothing of non-being comes to be, nor does being cease to exist. The boundary between these two is seen by men who see reality. Indestructible is the presence that pervades all this. No one can destroy this unchanging reality. Our bodies are known to end, but the embodied self is enduring, indestructible, and immeasurable. Therefore, Arjuna, fight the battle. He who thinks this self a killer, and he who thinks it killed, both fail to understand. It does not kill, nor is it killed. It is not born, it does not die. Having been, 'twill never not be. Unborn, enduring, constant and primordial, it is not killed when the body is killed. Arjuna, when a man knows the self to be indestructible, enduring, unborn, unchanging, how does he kill or cause anyone to kill? As a man discards worn-out clothes to put on new and different ones, so the embodied self discards its worn-out bodies to take on other new ones. Weapons do not cut it. Fire does not burn it. Waters do not wet it, and wind does not wither it. It cannot be cut or burned. It cannot be wet or withered. It is enduring, all-pervasive, fixed, immovable, and timeless. It is called unmanifest, inconceivable, and immutable. Since you know that to be so, you should not grieve. If you think of its birth and death as ever recurring, then, too, great warrior, you have no cause to grieve. Death is certain for anyone born, and birth is certain for the dead. Since the cycle is inevitable, you have no cause to grieve. Creatures are unmanifest in origin, manifest in the midst of life, and unmanifest again in the end. Since this is so, why do you lament? Rarely someone sees it. Rarely another speaks it. Rarely another hears it. Even hearing it, no one really knows it. The self embodied in the body of every being is indestructible. You have no cause to grieve for all these creatures, Arjuna. Look to your own duty. Do not tremble before it. Nothing is better for a warrior than a battle of sacred duty. The doors of heaven open for warriors who rejoice to have a battle like this thrust on them by chance. If you fail to wage this war of sacred duty, you will abandon your own duty of fame only to gain evil. People will tell of your undying shame, and for a man of honor, shame is worse than death. The great chariot warriors will think you deserted in fear of battle. You will be despised by those who held you in esteem. Your enemies will slander you, scorning your skill in so many unspeakable ways. Could any suffering be worse? If you are killed, you win heaven. If you triumph, you enjoy the earth. Therefore, Arjuna, stand up and resolve to fight the battle. Impartial to joy and suffering, gain and loss, victory and defeat, arm yourself for the battle, lest you fall into evil. Understanding is defined in terms of philosophy. Now hear it in spiritual discipline. Armed with this understanding, Arjuna, you will escape the bondage of action. No effort in this world is lost or wasted. A fragment of sacred duty saves you from great fear. This understanding is unique in its inner core resolve. Diffuse and pointless are the ways irresolute men understand. Undiscerning men who delight in the tenets of ritual lore utter florid speech proclaiming, "There is nothing else." Driven by desire, they strive after heaven and contrive to win powers and delights, but their intricate ritual language bears only the fruit of action and rebirth. Obsessed with powers and delights, their reason lost in words, they do not find in contemplation this understanding of inner resolve. Arjuna, the realm of sacred lore is nature. Beyond its triad of qualities, dualities, and mundane rewards, be forever lucid, alive to yourself. For the discerning priest, all of sacred lore has no more value than a well when water flows everywhere. Be intent on action, not on the fruits of action. Avoid attraction to the fruits and attachment to inaction. Perform actions, firm in discipline, relinquishing attachment. Be impartial to failure and success. This equanimity is called discipline. Arjuna, action is far inferior to the discipline of understanding. So seek refuge in understanding. Pitiful are men drawn by fruits of action. Disciplined by understanding, one abandons both good and evil deeds. So arm yourself for discipline. Discipline is skill in actions. Wise men disciplined by understanding relinquish the fruit-borns of action. Freed from those bonds of rebirth, they reach a place beyond decay. When your understanding passes beyond the swamp of delusion, you will be indifferent to all that is heard in sacred lore. When your understanding turns from sacred lore to stand fixed, immovable in contemplation, then you will reach discipline. Arjuna. Krishna, what defines a man deep in contemplation whose insight and thoughts are sure? How would he speak? How would he sit? How would he move? Lord Krishna, when he gives up desires in his mind, is content with the self within himself, then he is said to be a man whose insight is sure, Arjuna. When suffering does not disturb his mind, when his craving for pleasure has vanished, when attraction, fear, and anger are gone, he is called a sage whose thought is sure. When he shows no preference in fortune or misfortune, and neither exalts nor hates, his insight is sure. When, like a tortoise retracting its limbs, he withdraws his senses completely from sensuous objects, his insight is sure. Sensuous objects fade when the embodied self abstains from food. The taste lingers, but it too fades in the vision of higher truth. Even when a man of wisdom tries to control him, Arjuna, the bewildering senses attack his mind with violence. Controlling them all with discipline, he should focus on me. When his senses are under control, his insight is sure. Brooding about sensuous objects makes attachment to them grow. From attachment, desire arises. From desire, anger is born. From anger comes confusion. From confusion, memory lapses. From broken memory, understanding is lost. From loss of understanding, he is ruined. But a man of inner strength, whose senses experiences objects without attraction and hatred, in self-control finds serenity. In serenity, all his sorrows dissolve. His reason becomes serene, his understanding sure. Without discipline, he has no understanding or inner power. Without inner power, he has no peace. And without peace, where is joy? If his mind submits to the play of the senses, they drive away insight as wind drives a ship on water. So, great warrior, when withdrawal of the senses from sense objects is complete, discernment is firm. When it is night for all creatures, a master of restraint is awake. When they are awake, it is night for the sage who sees reality. As the mountainous depths of the ocean are unmoved when waters rush into it, so the man, unmoved when desires enter him, attains a peace that eludes the man of many desires. When he renounces all desires and acts without craving possessiveness or individuality, he finds peace. This is the place of the infinite spirit. Achieving it, one is freed from delusion. Abiding it, even at the time of death, one finds the pure calm of infinity.